All right, let's talk about a really powerful idea, something that pretty much defines our entire experience at work: significance. It's that deep down feeling that we matter, that our presence, our effort, what we bring to the table, that it all actually counts for something. So today, we're going to unpack the architecture of how we build that feeling.
So let me ask you something, and just take a second to really think about it. What makes you feel important at work? Is it your title? Is it getting a big project over the finish line? Maybe it's just being included in that key meeting. Whatever it is that just popped into your head, that feeling is exactly what we're going to dig into.
Because really, at its heart, this is what we're all looking for, isn't it? Significance is just that fundamental, human feeling that our presence counts, that our effort, our very being in that office or on that call has some weight, some value. It's the sense that, if we weren't there, we'd actually be missed.
Okay, so if significance is this feeling, how do organizations actually measure it? Well, it's almost like an economy, and every economy has its own form of payment. So let's take a look at the common currency of significance.
Think about it. You know exactly what these are. They're the classic symbols of making it at work. It's the new title on the door, the Employee of the Month plaque, or finally getting that invitation to the closed-door strategy session. These are the main tools, the currency, that organizations use to communicate your value back to you.
And here's the catch, and it's a big one. We don't get to mint this currency ourselves. It's created, and it's handed out by the organization. What that means is we end up outsourcing our own sense of significance. We make it completely dependent on someone or something else.
So what do you build with all this currency? Well, you end up creating what we can call an architecture of status. It's a whole framework for feeling important that's built entirely on these validations from the outside.
But here's the fundamental problem with that kind of architecture. It is incredibly fragile. A company reorg, a dip in the market, even just a new manager coming in, any one of those things can make that whole structure crumble practically overnight. And when it goes, it takes our feeling of significance right along with it.
And this is where things can start to get a little dangerous because it kicks off a negative cycle. What happens inside of us, especially if we're in a leadership role, when the very foundation of our importance starts to shake? When those things we've built our identity on, the titles, the recognition, the access, when they're suddenly at risk, it triggers a very predictable, very human reaction. It's a chain reaction that can be incredibly damaging, not just for us, but for our teams too.
It all starts when our significance feels threatened. That threat then creates this deep-seated anxiety, this fear of becoming irrelevant. And that anxiety, well, it often hardens into a desperate need for control. That's when we start to micromanage or hoard information or resist change, all just to protect a version of our status that's already slipping through our fingers.
But there's a much more resilient way to go about this. This is the pivot point. This is where we can shift our focus from that fragile foundation to one that's actually solid and self-sustaining.
The solution is to change our anchor. Instead of anchoring our self-worth in the temporary, fleeting world of status, we can anchor it in something we truly own: our contribution, the real, tangible impact we have on the work and on the people around us. That's something no one can take away.
Let's just break this down. Status is granted to you by somebody else. Contribution is driven by you. Status is fragile and temporary. It can be gone in a second. But your contribution creates something durable, a real legacy. One is based on a title, the other is based on your actual impact. So the real question is, which of these foundations do you really want to build your career on?
This brings us to the ultimate goal here. Shifting from status to contribution isn't just about feeling better about yourself. It's about being a much more effective leader, a more effective professional. It's really about learning to listen differently.
And look, this isn't about becoming egoless. Our ego is what drives us. It makes us want to succeed. So trying to just eliminate it is, well, it's pretty much impossible, and it's not even practical. The real work lies somewhere else.
And this right here, this captures the whole idea. The real goal is to quiet that screaming voice of our ego that's always demanding more status, so we can finally hear the quiet, persistent call of what the work actually needs. It completely reframes the central question from how do I look important to what is truly needed here and how can I contribute?
So we end up right back where we started, but with a brand new perspective. Your significance is an architecture that you are building every single day. So the question is, will you build it with the fragile materials of external status or with the enduring, solid foundation of your own contribution? The choice is yours.